Thanks for staying tuned. I'm Colin Abrams with the Hgp Sportscast. Korean International Martial Arts Guyana launched the third edition of the Ghana South America Undiscovered Martial Arts Championship set for July 20 to 22 on Thursday at the National Gymnasium. The tournament will see the participation of over 20 local martial arts schools from around Guyana and 12 international teams from across the Caribbean, North America, and Europe competing for top honors. President of KIMAG, Ronald Eudoxie, said the event is aimed at fostering development of youth in Guyana who are interested in being a part of the discipline. He also gave some insight into some of the events that will be competed.
There will be divisions in both traditional and freestyle, from ages 5 upward, both male and female, such as empty hand kata, weapons kata, grappling, point sparring, team kata, and team sparring. As our efforts are being strengthened in creating a developed event.
Representing the National Sports Commission, Brian Smith encouraged the public to support the event and to also get involved. Minister of Social Cohesion, Dr. George Norton, congratulated Mr. Eudoxie on his efforts in the development of the sport in Guyana.
I commend you for your commitment in promoting and development Korean martial arts here in Guyana. As you know, the Ministry of Social Cohesion is all about enhancing diversities in all its different forms, especially in sports. So your efforts to expand into less prevalent forms of sports here in Guyana has our blessings. We want to know.
The event will run from July 20 to 22 at the National Gymnasium on Mandela Avenue. Mr. Eudoxie said over the next 3 months his organization will be seeking the assistance from corporate Guyana to ensure the third championships is successful. As the GABF Road to Mecca 5 comes down to its final few games at the Cliff Anderson Sports Hall, on Wednesday night, Guardians, Cobras, and Ravens recorded victories. In the first game between Half Mile Bulls and Plaisance Guardians, the first half was won by Bulls as they accumulated the most points, holding 18 points to Guardians' 12. In the second half, however, the Guardians made a swift comeback to take the period, adding 29 points to their tally and surpassing Bulls to take the lead at halftime with the points at 41 to 39 in favor of the Guardians. At the opening of the third quarter, the steam began to pick up as both teams fought to take control of the game. At the end of the third quarter, the Guardians had pulled in 27 points to lead the game further, as the Bulls could only amass 22 points. At the end of the game, Guardians were the clear winners as they had a 10-point lead at the final buzzer, with 90 points to Bulls' 80. The second game of the evening between Cobras and Jets saw Cobras winning with a 10-point lead over Jets. Game 3 between Ravens and Retrieve Raiders saw both teams sporting top defenses. The first quarter belonged to the Ravens, who were only 2 points in front of the Ravens, with the points at 12-10. The teams continued the impressive throwdown in the second quarter, but the Raiders were even more valiant in their quest for victory. They ended the quarter with 14 points to continue to trample the Ravens. At the halftime, the scores were 26-19 in favor of the Raiders. After the halftime in the third quarter, Ravens made an impressive comeback as they were able to add an impressive 25 points to their scores, with Raiders only pulling in 13. The two teams fought an amazing game, coming down to a close game, with Ravens scoring 8 points and Raiders 12. At the final buzzer, the points were 52-51 in favor of Ravens. The action continues on Friday with 2 more games, Eagles versus Royals and Bull versus Nets in the prelims, and April 22 and 28 set for the semifinals and finals. Hgp stuns Demerara at Tushin ground, while Berbice were made to work hard at Everest on day 1 of round 3 in the 2018 GCB Hand-in-Hand Insurance Under-19 Inter-County Tournament. Stanford Howard reports.
Defending champions Demerara still hadn't shaken off the horrid loss to Berbice in the second round as they won the toss and decided to bat. Once again, they failed to make an impression with the bat as the Hgp bowlers team rolled Demerara in their first innings for a paltry 40 runs in 20.2 overs. Joshua Jones and Joel Fortune picked up 3 wickets apiece, and Quinton Thompson picked up 2. In the Essequibo reply, they managed to make 143 all out in just 41.1 overs. Vice-Captain Kurt Lovell 43 and Quinton Sampson 31 and Joshua Jones 21 were the main contributors to Essequibo's first innings score. Shadi Khan and Ashmid Ned swept up 5 scalps each to keep Essequibo from making a mammoth total. Demerara in their second innings are on 91 for 5 in 26 overs at stumps on day 1. Over at Everest, top of the leaderboard Burbies were given a run for their money against Select under 17, with the top order batting falling cheaply. The middle and lower order batting brought about some respectability to the innings, with Trevor Stanislaus and Leon Swam each slamming 47 runs, while Kevin Sinclair contributed 21 and Karan Arjupal 10 not out, to give Burbies a total of 176 all out in 68 overs. Sheldon Charles was the leading wicket taker for Select under 17 with 3 for 20, and Nyron Bisu followed with 2 for 12. The Select under 17 team in their first innings was at 76 for 4 at the close of play. For the Hgp Sports, I am Stanford Howard.
Chris Gayle shows why he is a force to reckon with in T20 cricket when he registered his 6th IPL century on Thursday. Stanford has more.
Chris Gayle is out to prove a point to his naysayers. Early this year during the IPL bidding, big-hitting Chris Gayle was the lowest bought player from the Caribbean. IPL franchise owners were concerned about his fitness to play the shortened version of the game. Prior to the start of the IPL season, Kings 11 Punjab's director Vern Sehwag said Chris Gayle would be worth the money spent on him if he were to win his team 2 or 3 games, where he had played 2 games and produced 2 match-winning innings. First with his 33-ball 63 against Chennai Super Kings. On Thursday, he marked his name down in the history books of the IPL with his 6th century. It was a blistering knock of 1 4 and 11 sixes to mark a match-winning score of 104 not out. Gayle brought about his 50 off 39 balls and his second 50 in just 19 balls. At the end of the Kings 11 Punjab's 20 over, there were 193. In the Sunrise reply, Kings 11 bowlers held their own and managed to seal the win by 15 runs to hand Sunrisers their first defeat of the season. For the Hgp Sports, I am Stanford Howard.
Thank you, Stanford, and that has brought us to the end of this edition of the Hgp Sportscast. Before we go, remember, life is like a sport. Always remember to play fair. Goodbye.